Hello, welcome to the Bald Explorers Sunday Chat. Very nice to see you. Thanks for watching. It's the 31st of January 2021, the last day of January, in fact, and we're moving into February, and sadly, we're still locked down and we can't get out and do the things that we really want to do. Are you all coping? That's the question I need to ask you. I hope you are, and I hope the Bald Explorer and all the other bits and bobs that I do has gone some way to relieve some of the stresses and frustrations that we've all been suffering as a result of this terrible ordeal that we're encountering. However, we must muddle through as best we can and try and keep ourselves positive, trying to keep the positive side of 2021, keep the new year going with the spirit that we've, well, certainly the one that I've adopted, and I hope you're all right. Certainly, I must say that people have been very, very kind, and I just want to, for those people who perhaps haven't caught up with all the videos and bits and bobs, may not be aware, I just want to say a big thank you to everybody who sent me some wonderful gifts. Had some amazing books from Woody Jenny, who had a bit of a clear out, and suddenly out of the blue the door was banged on by the postman and parcels of books arrived. Thank you. Too many to sort of individually go through. They are fascinating, and thank you for those. And also to Anne Eastwood, who also sent some books. Amazing, really, because they almost all came at once, which was very kind. And I've been sorting them out and dipping into them. So thank you so much for that. But also, Anne put inside it some of these, which are snowdrops, or according to the official thing, are they galanthus? I think there we are. So presumably, I'm not quite sure, because there is no instructions here on when to put them in, but presumably as they come up about now, and I've not seen so many snowdrops out and about when I've been walking in the countryside. I've seen some, but not as many as I was expecting in January. But presumably, if I guess I can sow them in the autumn, or should I just put them in now? If somebody out there can, I'm sure, tell me what to do with these, but they'll be brilliant. I'll put them in my front garden. My front garden is a bit of a mess at the moment, but Andrew Norris very kindly sent in the middle of last year some seeds from his hay meadow, and I have already sown them. So I'm hoping, and I'm very much looking forward to March, April time, when hopefully these some sort of something green and colourful may pierce through. And also I have some hollyhocks, which has already had 1 year of growing, and then I'm hoping that the second year, which is the year they're supposed to flower, will be even better. So that's when I'm planning really to sort of smarten up the garden. It's just going to rough it through the winter. What's the point? I don't know how good my soil is here. I'm on a fairly busy road. The garden is about 4 foot by 6 foot, so it's not really a huge amount of space. And I have got Sean James Cameron very kindly gave me a rhubarb. I don't know whether that's going to come back. I've got some mint in there, which may or may not sort of take over everything. And hopefully these wild flowers will come up, some poppies. And, you know, they'll all just come at different times, presumably, which will be great. Doing my bit to try and attract some insects onto the garden. So thank you so much, Anne. That's really kind, really good. Also to Lisa Fox, who very, very kindly sent, you may have seen this in the Vobes show, and of course I made a video, which can have some very cold weather. We've had some very mild weather recently, which does get me a bit worried, because I've been reading about hibernation and animals going into hibernation and how they can get fooled if we have too mild a winter, and then they come out and they think it's spring, and then we get that cold snap again, and they decide, oh, what should I do? Maybe go back into hibernation, but they haven't had enough resources back into them, and of course they can perish. But lovely hat and a beautiful scarf, and knitted all by her own fair hand. So I absolutely love it. It's fantastic. Just the sort of thing on those really cold days, especially, you know, after I've done a walk. So you may not always see all these things in the videos, but after I've done a walk, if it's been cold and I get back to the van, I may well be sitting there with a nice mug of soup, dressed up in my official Bald Explorer scarf and hat. So thank you so much. People have been so nice. And you may have seen my recent video of the trims, or hubcaps as some people call them, for the van. And of course I made a bit of a boo-boo there. I got the wrong length of, what do you call them, the cable ties. Not only did I get the wrong length, apparently the white ones are no good because they perish outside, so I need to get some heavy-duty black ones to replace them. So I'll try and do that this week, and also not just do once, but possibly 3. So I hope that doesn't mar the look having them there, but I'm sure when it's all done it'll look nice. But anyway, thank you very much for that. I'm still waiting for my son and girlfriend. I mustn't say this too loudly because they're upset. Waiting for them to leave. They've bought a flat, or they're in the process of buying a flat. They've got to wait for the people who are in the flat to leave, and then they're going to move in, hopefully by the end of March at the latest. But it could be any time. It really depends. So I'm waiting now because I've got lots of plans. I live in a 2-up, 2-down house, but I'm on my own. I'm a bachelor. What's the phrase that they use? An eligible bachelor. But instead of turning this into, what they used to call a shag pad or anything like that, I want to utilise the rooms to build more studios and have more studio space, so that when I do very many of my different things, I'm not always sat here. So that this is very much the Vobes show studio, but I will change this round actually when I've got the space. And I want to have a Bald Explorer studio, as it were, with a different themed look and those sort of things. It'd be lovely to have one of those globes, those globes that some people have with the spirits, as in drinks, inside, which would be lovely to have one of those in the studio, and some maps and various things. That would be nice, but I don't know. I've spoken to Mr. Norris, and he's given me some ideas for the set, so watch this space. But that's still ongoing, so we haven't quite got there yet, I'm sorry to say. Still holding back on the Sussex border walk, eager to get going, but the weather has just been a bit dodgy. Obviously, it's quite further away. I'm getting very itchy feet. I may go out if we get some good weather. But of course, the problem I have is that whilst we're in lockdown, even though I feel legitimately that as I'm going to work, I can go a little bit further to get to the work that I need to do, which would be following this footpath and recording it and bringing it to you as part of the Bald Explorer package. The problem is that, of course, any of these lovely beauty spots like Pagham Harbour, which is one of the next places I need to visit, these are places that locals to it will want to go to get out, to have a bit of fresh air, some exercise and a change of the walls from the house. So whereas ordinarily in the week people are working and you have these places a little bit more to yourself, I wouldn't have that luxury. So I still think I may have to wait till the end of lockdown before I can continue legitimately the series. So in the meantime, I've been thinking, well, what other things can I do? Yes, I can carry on doing the walks, look on the OS map and find some walks. And for those people who are local enough, they may say, oh, actually, that's a nice walk. We could follow what the Vobes has done, which, of course, is one of the things. But I was also thinking, and I've been increasingly worried, actually, that many of us are not so familiar with the heritage of this land. You'll notice that I often brand some of my videos the quest for England. And I think this started last year when I started to become much more aware of what it is I'm trying to do, to figure out what it is about being English and the English history and landscape. And I know that recently you would also have noticed that there are culture wars, that people are trying to revise history and rewrite or put a different slant on the events that have happened, or make out that some of the big events that have happened weren't as important as I believe that they are. The other sad thing is, I think that the education system, certainly from when I was at school, which is some time ago, let's not go too much into that, but when I was at school, it was comprehensive education, but I was not comprehensively educated. My history of what this nation got up to is dreadfully lacking. And it's only in recent years, in the last 10, 20 years, that I've been interested in this kind of stuff, that I've actually been filling in the gaps. And I still don't know very much. You know, life is a whole thing about trying to learn new stuff, isn't it? We're always learning all the time. So I was wondering, within everything else that I do, of doing maybe once a week or once a fortnight, going through the history of England from probably the time that the Romans arrived, Julius Caesar first came, and then working through the events. I don't know how I'm going to present this, because clearly I can't go to all the places that these things happened, because you need a big budget to be able to do that, and also the freedom to get there. And in many of these institutions and palaces and castles and all of those places, you need access and probably have to get license to film there or pay a location fee. So that's not likely to happen. So I'm just tentatively working on this idea. I may have mentioned it in the Naked Englishman podcast, which is my daily podcast, audio podcast that I do. So you may have heard it there, and I'm sort of trying to figure out the best way to do this. So we'll see. So I'm not promising anything. These are just thoughts that are going through my head. And talking of something else that's going through my head, the filming tips has been good. People have really got on board with some of that, and I'm trying to help people who want to get out and film things. So put those up. The editing video I did recently was sort of a very simplistic introduction of what the editing software might look like if you're for the first time visiting it, and it can still seem complicated. So I have thought that it might be a good idea to set up a separate YouTube channel to just show you how I edit, some hints and tips and things. But what it isn't, and I think I probably worded a little post that I put about this, what it isn't is trying to be a new channel that is all about video and editing and something that's attracting audience. It's really just for those people who follow the Bald Explorer, who basically have a phone and think, actually, this is quite a bit of fun, we'd like to learn a little bit more. It's not going to be a main channel. It's really so that I don't keep littering up the Bald Explorer channel with lots of filming and technical stuff. If I'm trying a microphone out, or I want to talk a bit about the philosophy of, I don't know, filming something, it's probably the inappropriate place to put it on the Bald Explorer, whereas just a separate little channel that might only have a couple of hundred people watching, that's really all it is. So I know a number of people saying, oh, Richard, don't start another channel. You'll be spreading yourself too thinly. Stick to what you know. There's too many other filming channels out there. Yes, I get that. It's not trying to be in competition with anybody else. It's just somewhere else to put those videos that might help a very small number of people. So that's really what that one is. Finally, you know that if you're a patron, you get my In Conversation With podcast, which goes out once a week just to the patrons who've been supporting me. And thank you so much for that. It really does help. And it's my sort of thank you for supporting me. I record a conversation with somebody in here, actually, on a little recorder over the phone for about 45 minutes. And we have who knows what the conversation is really, because it's not so much an interview, it's just a chat. And it's been going down very well. People have enjoyed it. Well, as ever, I need people to have a phone call and just have a chat. So if you're up for it, if you fancy just having a chinwag about any subject, something you're interested in, something we're mutually interested in, I don't know, it can be anything, then do get in touch. Email me, richard@vobes.com, and we can do it at a time that it suits you. Just a 45-minute chat about life, the universe, and everything. And I'm sure that other people in a way, would eavesdrop in after it's recorded, not at the time of recording, and I just send that out to the patrons. So if you fancy it, then do get in touch. Even if you think, well, I've got nothing to say, you'll be surprised. Everybody's got something to say, and we're all nosy. We all like to know something about other people and what they get up to. So this week's one is with a chap called Pete, or otherwise known as Colonel Cragratty, who's into steampunk and rock climbing. It's a fantastic listen, so I know my patrons are going to enjoy it. But they don't have to be. It can just be very bland and talk about what's in the news, a personal hobby, something about, I don't know, you saw on telly. It can be anything. It's amazing where the conversation suddenly goes down rabbit holes, and it's just a lot of fun. So thanks for that. So there we go. That's my Sunday chat today. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget that we do the Vobes show on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays at 8 o'clock in the UK time. That's just a bit of fun in the evening, showing your videos, your art and photographs on a different channel called the Vobes show. And in the afternoons at 4 o'clock, Monday to Friday, I'm reading to a live audience some old books, and we often have a bit of a laugh at the same time. That's another live show called Listen with Vobes, and that's on a separate YouTube channel. We're trying to do all this stuff really to get us through the lockdown and keep ourselves just a little bit chilled. Anyway, thank you for watching this one. Look after yourselves. Take care, and I will hopefully see you at the end of next week with any luck. Till then, bye-bye.